packed house today. We'll start the meeting with Pledge Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd also like to take a moment of silence for the tragedies that happened in our in Brooklyn Park and Champlain Park. So if we could take a moment for that, for the Hortmans and the Hoffmans. All right, thank you.
I just want to say thank you for that, Dave. It's been very heavy on my mind since Saturday morning, and I think it's just important to say that it shouldn't matter what level of government you're on, from the township or watershed, thank
Whatever,
you.
yeah.
School board, federal, county, like, you should never ever fear for your life. So I just want to condemn any violence and say we need to do better. So, thank you.
Yeah. All right, so let's move on to the agenda. Do we have any changes or additions to the agenda?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. There are a few changes. I would request that we remove the gravel pit conditional use permit that's on our agenda.
Okay.
As well as remove the airport resolution for the funding request for taxi lane rehabilitation.
So number 4 under your...
Yes. There'll be further discussion at airport committee with regards to that request tomorrow. And then adding an item, it probably should be added under highway.
So number 5.
Actually, since highway already has a spot on the agenda, it might be
number 5 under highway.
More fitting under highway. The item is a change order for the City of Lake Park construction.
On County Road 7?
Yeah,
I don't know the county.
7.
Whatever
7.
goes through.
Yeah, 7. Okay.
And then I just, then also I just wanted to mention that the flowers on the table there are in honor of the fallen. Yeah.
Is there any other corrections or additions to the agenda? All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Motion by Erica. Do we have a second? Second by Barry. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. All right, minutes from June 3rd. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes?
I had just a couple on page 3. There's a extra comma and services were spelled wrong.
Do you realize, Peggy, that I did not notice that?
Didn't you?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, page 3, number 4, services is spelled wrong. We're missing a C.
I did notice that.
And then there's an extra comma after auditor warrants and claims over 90 days. And then on number 5 under the sheriff, page 5 under the sheriff, where we're talking about the regeneration of the following squad cars. I just wonder if we should go, like, say who the company is for the, is it, because it's not, the regeneration is not the company, is it?
Regen is the name,
Mm,
Is the company.
is the company. Regen is the company, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I think it's the company that we are getting our
Our squads
squads
fitted with or
yeah, equipped with.
yeah.
They are purchasing, they will either purchase the vehicle and or the equipment and then to resell it. So we would be selling or trading in some of that stuff for that.
Yeah.
Yep, so I think we just need to, because it just says motion and second to approve the sale or regeneration of the following squad cars. So I think if we could just say, what does regeneration mean? Or like regeneration through regen or whatever it is.
Second
So
to approve the sale.
The sale of the car through public auction or through regeneration.
Yep.
Or through regen, I think is their.
Regen is the name.
Regenerate now.
Regen is the name of their company.
I had a couple, Peggy.
Oh, I just had one more. One more, more of a clarification than a correction. Because I noticed under the Pelican River watershed that I was not identified as being voting against it. And so I don't know if that is typically our practice, that we just
It is
say.
our practice that if it carries and you don't ask for a roll call vote, it just goes carried.
Okay.
If you want to be noted, then you
Then
ask for a
then
roll
ask
call
for a roll
vote.
call
Gotcha.
vote.
And
Yeah.
then it will be noted
Yeah.
who's voting for or against. Otherwise, we just, because it's hard for anyone to hear if someone just voices opposition of one person, because I mean, that happens.
Yep.
But if you want to be recognized at it, then ask for a roll call vote in the minutes.
Okay, I'm fine with that. That's all I had.
Page 3, under Commissioner Hanson, it's Prairie Lakes Municipal Solid Waste Authority. You have PWMSWA. I know that's a tough acronym. And then on page 4, it was, you said Sheriff Glander.
Yeah,
It was actually Shane that did that.
Yeah.
I don't know if you needed to make a motion of that or.
Yeah, it was Shane Richards I had that too.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, everybody took all my stuff. I can't even say anything. Way to go.
That's it.
Anybody else have any corrections or additions?
Mr. Chair, page 2 of 4, under 2, sentence to serve, should probably read the state STS crew leader funding has been cut,
Yeah,
not the.
correct.
And then on page 1 of 4, under agenda minutes on number 4, it's not that it's motion and second to pull the following item from the consent agenda to discuss. I think you just say motion second to approve and accept the consent agenda. And then those items that are pulled, they're approved later, so you don't have to.
Yeah,
Because there was no motion to pull them, it was a request to pull them, and then the motion was to approve the remaining. So I don't think you need to just say.
yeah, it's, because it's already in there. It'd be in there twice then, yeah. Okay.
Just eliminate that line and just later on they're approved. So the motion to approve and accept the following consent agenda items.
Yeah.
And then you don't have to state which ones are
Yep.
pulled or not.
That makes sense. Is there any other corrections to the minutes? All right, with no hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
I will make a motion to approve the.
Motion by Phil, do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Barry. Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, motion carries. All right, move on to the consent agenda. Do we have anything we would like to pull from the consent agenda?
Yes, Mr. Chair. I'd like number 8 I'd like number 9 to be pulled for discussion, but number 8, I would like some dialogue. I'm not number 8. And if Denise isn't around, I'm sure our committee can just dialogue.
Yeah,
on
I
that.
wasn't there, but
Okay.
I called her yesterday about that one.
If you want to
I'm
just give an
aware of
update,
it,
because I
but-
just think, I just would like some discussion. So I don't need to pull number 8, but I just would like an update or explanation of that. Okay.
Yes, I'm here, Mr. Chair.
If maybe just a brief update on what that is exactly and how that, on number 8, and then it can stay on the consent agenda.
Okay, perfect.
Denise, could you just explain the agreement between AmeriCorps RSVP? Is RSVP the name of it? AmeriCorps RS?
Is RSVP the name of?
Yes,
what's that?
AmeriCorps RSVP. Can you explain that?
Yeah,
Just-
absolutely. So it's back to the volunteer driver program and the difficulty that we had and our local RSVP program having to close and losing their funding. So we found another entity that offers the same RSVP program. Although not locally, they agreed to take on our volunteer drivers so that we no longer have to pay them or provide them the 1099 at the end of the year. We discussed those problems, but we did find a solution. This was the solution, and it's just the MOU to get started with this new entity. And the RSVP stands for Retired Senior Volunteer Program.
So it's just, they're using the same volunteer drivers, just they're going to manage them, so.
Yeah,
Yes.
I was gonna have that in my reports.
Okay.
I won't do it now.
Yeah,
Thank
I
you.
was gonna,
And he was-
thanks, Barry, now you took it.
don't listen to her.
Okay, thank you, Denise.
You're very
Okay, so just number the.
Number
storage-
9, so we'll
storage
pull number 9, let's put number 9 in Carrie's, at the end of Carrie's report, number 6. Or, well, we'll put it after, we'll put it in your report. How about that? All right, is there anything else that we would like to remove from pull from the consent agenda?
You know, the only thing I mean, if the board, we can leave it there, but there's one thing in that contract that I don't know if it's a mistake or if it's just,
Did I miss it?
I think we should pull it.
just pull it.
Yeah, let's pull it.
Oh, you just want to see this derailed.
All right, so if there's no further items in the consent agenda, I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
A motion by Erica, second by Phil. Any more discussion? Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, motion carries. All right, commissioners, open forum. Do we have anybody?
Morning, Nate.
All right, thanks, Nate. So, Donald Chenard. So when you come up, please state your name and where
You
your
just
address.
did.
What? I know. Well, I'll state your name and you state your address. Here, Carrie, I'll give that.
All right, this is on. My name is Don Chenard. I'm a homeless veteran here in Detroit Lakes. Good morning. I come before you today as a citizen of this county, one who has endured years of harassment, discrimination, and systemic abuse at the hands of the very institutions that are supposed to serve and protect us all. I'm here to speak on the socioeconomic discrimination that I have personally experienced, and I refuse to be silent about the reality of what's happening in Becker County and Detroit Lakes. For too long, I have been targeted, not because I'm committed any crimes and not because I'm a danger to the public, but because I do not conform to the narrow, materialistic, and exclusionary vision that some of you have for this community. I live freely outside the artificial constraints of debt, status symbol, and social media-driven illusions of success, and that apparently makes me a threat. The truth is, many of you have built your identities around status, wealth, and the illusion of power. You live in fear of those who refuse to play the game, those of us who don't define our worth by a mortgage, a job title, or the number of followers on social media. I've been harassed because I do not fit neatly into your vision of who should exist in this county. I have been reported to the police simply for existing in a way that challenges the fragile identities of those who feel entitled to dictate who belongs here. There are those who believe that their dollars buy them the right to police who gets to live freely in the community. Local law enforcement has been used as a tool against me. Over the past 2 years, law enforcement has been called on me more than 50 times. Over 50 times, police and sheriff interactions, not once has a single criminal charge been filed, no citations, and no credible evidence. Just a relentless campaign of calls, complaints, court filings designed to break my spirit and drive me out of this community. What does that tell you? It tells you that it's not about law and order, it's about intimidation. It is about silencing the people like me. The harassment doesn't stop at law enforcement. On August 23rd, 2023, I was forcibly evicted from my home, even though the landlord's claims were blatantly fraudulent and any reasonable judge would have dismissed it on the spot. I filed an answer to the landlord's complaints that the court, with the court clerk and Judge Tilmoney both approved, yet at the hearing, Tilmoney refused to even look at my answer. I filed an official complaint against her for denying me due process. I filed an appeal and I won. But did I get my home back? No, I remain homeless to this day. But it gets worse. My mother's 76 years old. She is on public housing and receives public housing assistance. She lives at the same building where my Section 8 caseworker works. And he's also my mother's landlord. His name is Paul, his boss is Nicole. For over 9 years, I visited my mom every night, helping her feel safe. Helping her feel safe and connected. But the moment that Paul learned that I won my appeal, within hours he drafted an eviction claim against her for no valid reason. He told her that if she doesn't want to be evicted, that she must agree and sign a lease addendum, which states that if I ever step foot anywhere on the property again, to visit her or to visit any of the 60 residents, or even if I go to the HRA office to help me reinstate my Section 8 benefits, that she would be evicted. And she'd be stripped of her public housing benefits. This is harassment at its most vicious and most foul form, an attempt to sever the most basic human bond a mother and child have. This was never about my housing. It was about pushing out those who don't fit into the carefully curated image of Becker County that some of you are so desperate to maintain. That's not all. There's many other human services and Mahoobie, among others, that have violated my civil rights, and you do not get to dictate who belongs here based on income, lifestyle, or social status. If this is happening to me, I'm sure it's happening to others who are experiencing socioeconomic discrimination, and I demand accountability. Thank you.
Thanks, Don.
Thank you, Donald. All right, reports. We'll move on to reports and correspondence. Who would like to go first?
I'll go. All right, I will keep it pithy, I promise. Highway, we are doing County Road 7 north of Lake Park. One thing that changed a little bit, in the north of the bridge there, the bids for in the city there came under budget to a pretty good tune. So they're going to do a reclaim instead of a mill and overlay, which is a big deal for health of the road and years of longevity. Just FYI, that's just within the city though. Overweight, we're doing some new overweight permits that we've never done before. They're not going to wreck our roads any worse. That was my first question too. We're going to be putting some reclamite. It's lit. You can see it in your stuff here. It's like seal coat, only it's clear, so the lines show through it. So if it works, we would be able to, that would be a huge, burden taken off the painting budget, I guess. We're going to do Westlake Drive from Legion to the Pelican River, Richwood Road from 34 up to Tower. We're going to do Tower Road. We're going to do Highland Drive and the Public Works parking lot. So be on the lookout for those things, especially over the next few years. Went to the District 4 meetings. Everybody, yep,
Phil,
sure.
no, I know the airport paving project is in. Is that a project that would be married with a bigger project and get better pricing on? I mean, was that ever talked about at airport or?
No, it wasn't. This is like the seal coat stuff.
I know, but you were talking, I mean, you're just, well, we partner with townships and, throw in a project for them and we, throw in paving projects on our parking lots.
I got airport tomorrow. I can ask. I've never thought of that before.
This is, well, we'll talk about the airport later, but or no, that's been pulled.
No, we won't.
We'll figure that out.
Oh, good. I'm glad it was pulled.
But I'll bring that up.
But, it's, the bigger the projects, the better the prices you get.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can do, they've got bituminous surfaces, the blacktop out there, so I'll bring it up tomorrow, or Carrie will. Okay, we went to the District 4 meetings on the 6th. Just the interesting things were cost shifts, obviously. The sanctuary jurisdictions I thought were very interesting.
Yeah.
How you get on that or not on that. And then the opioid settlement, I'm glad I learned a little about that. It's coming in over a lot of years. RAC on the 9th, discussed the bike trail to Frazee, Dunlocks, Heartland Trail, Wanigan Park. One thing I'm going to propose in some work sessions on is just the recreational budget. We haven't had a recreational budget for the last 4 years, and I want to start talking about that again.
One thing we talked about a little bit was let's set a goal of find two primitive campsites new this year and seeing if we can extend them. Let's just do a really simple goal for the RAC committee. Find two primitive campsites and make them a little bit more.
Yeah.
And then we can go on from there. I don't care. Where they are. Let's do a reasonable goal. Let's get something done.
I think with that though, you need budget, right?
Yeah.
Like you need.
Well, I've got a plan for that.
Yep. I like that one.
I'm gonna get to that.
All right.
So that was the RAC committee. Planning and zoning, we did a fact-finding thing on the Prairie Lakes mine between Pelican and Corporate. That is kind of off the list now, but that will be coming back. On the 12th, me and Steve Skoog went down. I just wanted to tour our regional facilities. I did this on my own. Me and Steve went, we toured some construction and demo landfills down in Glenwood and Alexandria. We looked at the incinerator in Alexandria. They got a brand new MRF and HHW recycle site. It's beautiful. It is beautiful. Guys, right in Alexandria. We went to the Pope Douglas ash recovery facility like they have out here for our recovery system over in Perham. And they also have their organics program. That's where we'll be delivering our organics as that program comes online. That's in Hoffman, Minnesota. And then we toured the Wadena construction, demolition, and recycle site on our way back. Appeals and equalization last night, and that's all I had. These work sessions, though, I think we should carve out a time for work sessions. I've got about 4 of them that I think we should, rather than spend time at this meeting, I think we should do work sessions on a park and rec, this STS. I mean, STS, we're going to have to revamp at the end of the year what's happening. We're pushing it through to the end of the year, but what are we going to do going forward? And I think we should do a work session on that. I think we should do a work session on interdepartmental work. Environmental has crushed concrete over there. Highway uses crushed concrete. We need highway, their equipment to do primitive campsites, possibly start out with a couple. There's some pushback between departments, but I don't know how we work that, but I think we have a work session on that, and we direct Carrie to make some of these things happen. There's always, well, we did more for them and they did more for us. I don't know how to handle that, and I think that would be, we could talk about that in a work session, just my opinion. The sheriff's accessory building, I think we're going to approve that today, or that's on the list with the city. But there's a bigger issue there. That's for a year. What are we going to do down the road long term? I think we should have a work session. Start at least hammering that out a little bit. Barry, you wanted to do some taxable market value rates on tillable land. I think that's work session stuff, not for the board meeting.
Yeah, that's not I don't think that's an item for a work session though.
But you know what? We just had appeals and equalization last night, but for next year, or if you think it's going to take care of itself, but I think that's something, if not that, I think we could just do how property is assessed. I thought that was great information Lee gave us last night, and we sat there for 3 hours. I learned a lot there, and I've been going to monthly meetings with him to try to figure it out. But I think that would be good for all people to know, if we can carve out the time.
I think as far as that goes, I think that would be a good topic for AMC, for them. I mean, I know that they're looking for different training topics, and I think trying to figure out Minnesota's property tax valuation system, and I know that they had mentioned that before. I think that would be a great training, because I think that's where you're going to learn more, is somebody is in a training environment. That's what they do, is teach you how to do it.
I think
we did it at 101. I requested it, and they did it at 101.
But I think
there's
specific,
so many aspects to it. They just did it.
as you dive deeper, how does a township's property value average 27%, but how does one home go up 69% and one home go up 16%? Well, I mean, how is that?
Yeah,
how is that different?
I don't understand that either.
How is farmland valued at higher than what anything is sold for? I mean, those.
But
It's
I
like,
don't think
how do we
that's-
get the?
I don't think that's anything a work session is
No.
gonna help us.
We're not gonna.
Which is my point.
We can't change that because.
Yeah.
But how does one county value? How is one county, and then across that imaginary line, this land is valued this much more, and this it's.
We can change that. We go to a work session, we sit down with Lee, he tells us how he comes up with the process. It can be changed. We can do it. We need to have the knowledge to know how to do it. You suggested it, Barry.
We
that
can-
we could do that with this rate. We could change our rate. I didn't even know we could do that until you brought it up.
That's an appeal. That's just the
That's
appeal
appeal,
process,
but-
just
but
for
changing the
adjusted
process, we can't do
adjusted
that.
sales price. If your assessor tells you this is the formula and these are the numbers, there's not much.
Those are the numbers,
The-
yeah.
We certainly will appeal that rate. Next year, two land sales that have been this year are, the two averages 20%. We're 20% high on bare land sales right now.
We're
Well,
That's according just
just two land sales, yeah.
but I think that's going to continue.
I disagree. I think we can do something about it. If learning about it is the one thing we can do about it, that is enough. But I've got other things on the list too.
Well,
that probably float
I will
higher than
disagree.
that.
We can't arbitrarily change numbers in the assessor's office.
We did it last night
So we can talk about that.
in a work session.
No,
No, I
no.
don't think that's,
Okay.
No.
that
All right.
is a work
We,
session.
you guys can discuss that. So is any,
Okay.
yeah, so I just want to add one thing to the RAC committee. The VFW has offered to donate labor to help refurbish the old shelter. So I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
And then we also got a tax forfeit for the parcel on Lake, little Sugarbush Lake. When we talk about primitive sites, we had talked about that at the RAC, that maybe that would be a great place, because there's already sewer and water there. There's a home there. Now, obviously, we can't use the
Talk to
home, but,
Township first.
but yeah, they're gonna talk to the township, and Mitch was gonna reach out to the township, and then there's a couple people that are on the RAC committee that know a lot of the neighbors, are gonna reach out to the
Sure,
neighbors
yep.
and see what kind of they thought. So that was a possibility too at the RAC. And then also one more thing at the RAC. Yeah, at the Osage Beach, there's a shelter across the road that is owned by the township.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not being used, and so we're going to figure out what the township needs so that it can be used. It was mainly maintenance of the shelter, because they don't have
Are
anybody
you
that,
talking about the one across
the highway,
on 34?
yeah,
So.
south.
I don't know my directions.
Yeah,
anyways.
no, I found that out the other day.
Left side if you're driving.
Yeah, left side. So they're going to do some investigating on that. That's just
Yeah.
Yep, go ahead. Does anybody else have any, who wants to go next?
I can go next. I was also at AMC. I agree that the sanctuary counties was very interesting, and that nobody really knows how to get on them or how to get off them. And it's also always interesting to get the updates, to really learn more about all the behind-the-scenes work of what happened at the legislative session. So always a,
I think that's something that we don't see, or we don't maybe comprehend, how much work AMC does behind the
Yes.
scenes.
They do so much work, it's unbelievable.
I know, and there's specific stuff that I know for a fact how hard they've worked. That's not, not even testimony, but they have good contacts. They're well-respected.
Yes.
So they carry a lot of weight with a lot of legislators.
and I think it's really, as we're talking, and this was talked about at the meeting too, about, if their dues go up, we get our money's worth from AMC because of the work that they do. And even just thinking about this legislative session and the work that they were integral in getting completed for helping counties out was
Just
well
look
worth
at
it.
look at when we researched the cost of a lobbyist for one
Yes.
item.
Mhm.
How expensive that was, and think of what we get with AMC as a collective county group.
The only other, I was down in the cities all last week, so I missed a couple of meetings. So the only other one I had was housing. We discussed the statewide affordable housing aid regarding the RFP for Maple Avenue, which is on the agenda, and then just continued our discussion about our contract with MMCDC, which we'll be meeting with them shortly or in the next couple months. And then I just wanted to speak a little bit about the work sessions, because I think work sessions have a place when we have a specific thing we want to talk to, but I also just want to caution us, because I think one of the things that's very important about having the conversation in this board, and I think Nate will probably agree, is we need to be transparent, and we need to have part of that conversation here for our constituents to hear. So I think work sessions have a place. I think the conversation that we have at the board is also important. That's all I have.
All right, who would like to?
I'll start with land use. Richard and I had land use, so chime in anywhere you want on it. They're coming forward, there will be a land acquisition from the U.S. Fish and Wildlife on a property near Tamarack. It will adjoin Tamarack, and it will connect a piece of property that they had as an island. So they'll be coming in the future to ask the board's opinion. We reviewed the Dutton locks. The new facility is, if you go on Facebook, there are so many positive comments about the
Yes.
new shelter and how great it is and how nice it is. So we think it was a bit spendy for sure, but at the end of the day, it's a great item. And of course, I did hear some concerns about parking. They criticized the parking out there, but
We're taking care of that.
yes. There was gave a trail routing study on the kickoff by the behind WeFest and over to Shoreham. So they're looking at that. Osage Swimming Beach, the DNR was out there and pulled some rebar out of some of that area. They couldn't get it all. They think it was pretty deep.
Just one thing I want to add to the Dutton locks. So that parking lot that is in the right of way on the road that comes off of 59 to Dutton locks, they're looking at the other side of the road, using that right of way and making about 5 or 6 more parking spots.
Oh, at RAC committee?
Yeah.
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 Yep.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
And that's okay.
Well, I did mean to, but I didn't.
We had a retirement at NRM. So I don't know if we look at HR, can we say anything about John's retirement and congratulations and thank you for his many years of service? It's been just been so solid out there, and thank you for everything you've done. So that was filled by the last year's seasonal help, and so that's up and running. Mary had a concern about a property that might be on the property line, so we're going to review that, and I think our surveyor was at the meeting, and he was going to look at that a little bit closer. Mary, you want to update on we're going to wait until October for the second tax forfeit land sale. Another encroachment issue on a tax forfeit land down in the Lake Eunice area, and concerns about this was just some old docks sitting on the land. You start looking at some of these properties, even that property goes into Blue Water Bay. It could be a walk-in access for canoes or kayaks too, because that's some decent fishing in there in the spring and the fall. So that could be another rack, just a 2-car park spot and walk-in access only to a nice fish spot. White Earth Nation was there with representatives, and Dusty and Dave were there again. They gave us some nice where they're at with some forestry things, and they were very supportive of what we had going and didn't have any concerns, I don't think. Richard, do you agree?
Yep, that's going really good with them. And then I was just gonna say, Barry, about that cell tower. We're getting another one up
The one
there.
up north?
A little bit midgy. And then the tribe is doing a cell tower.
By right.
So finally, we're gonna be able to use our phones up there, which is
Yeah,
very important, I think.
I went fishing on Bad Medicine, 2 weeks ago, and I could use my cell phone on the lake.
And people are really happy about that.
I don't know if it's great to use a cell phone like that. I could use it though.
No, you can. You won't get struck by lightning using it.
And then one other thing I think I asked Carrie to work on a little bit is our Adopt a Highway program. So right now, this is one of the things I think Phil is talking about. Right now, our highway department sponsors it, and then they go pick it up, and then they get charged at environmental to pay for the volunteers picking up garbage. I've had a group that has asked, we will bring it in, but we don't want to pay. We pick all the garbage out of the ditches. Why should we be, this group, why are we paying to dump it? So I think we have to figure out a system. If the group wants to haul all that garbage in, that they should not be charged. And I don't know that we should be charging highway. So, but you can't just have anyone come in and say, oh, we volunteered to pick up garbage. So,
No.
I mean, there has to be some sort of process or to each group on what day they have to be, but I would like to see if a group wants to haul in their garbage, they can haul it in for free. And I think highway shouldn't be charged, environmental shouldn't be charging highway to pick up or to take garbage from.
It seems to me, though, that there is something in statute that requires anything. I asked Steve, because Steve and I had a conversation before about it, and there is no like just free taking garbage.
Well, then we could have a voucher system or something.
And I mean, I think
With-
we have to have it where somehow it
You
gets,
account for it, but I don't know.
Yes.
We can charge whatever we want. We don't have to charge for garbage at all if we don't want to.
No, and we shouldn't be charging for the guys who are picking it up on the highway. You're right about and that's not
Correct.
the only thing though, Barry. There's some stuff that,
Yes, I know there's other
yeah,
things going.
we agree
but-
that a lot of this stuff needs to be eliminated. We're all one.
I mean, I think if you want to track it, that's fine,
yep.
but
I think it has to be tracked, yeah.
I just don't think that we need
No,
to.
we shouldn't be.
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Barber, Commissioner Nelson, to me, this is a work session right
Yeah.
here, because this isn't a singular issue. It's interdepartmental work and seeing how we can do what is best for the county.
I think-
And one thing with the work session too, those are public, right?
Yes.
Work sessions are, so we are online with the work.
We're not necessarily
They're not
online.
online, but,
Well, you can watch, right?
no, no,
We haven't done.
We have, but they are public, so we'd have to notice
They're
them.
posted.
yeah, they're posted.
Anything else on interim?
No,
I think
just that, again, that relationship with the tribe is
Yeah.
working out very well.
And I mentioning the tribe had their big powwow celebration. Now, I didn't attend, but I have been up there in past years, and it is quite interesting to go. So hopefully they had a great weekend for it, not too warm, and maybe a little rain came through, but hopefully they got everything in. Then another meeting, Phil and I met with Buffalo Red Watershed about the project, and I just asked Phil if he wanted to, Phil, he wants to learn everything as fast as he can, so he did it, and they explained the back history to start with, and then after Phil left, the rest of us could talk, and then we then we got to some
Boy, I tell you what,
discussions.
jab.
And
I'll get them later.
we got some, Bill Steffel was there, so we looked at some options to look at that project and what would be different ways to maybe fund it, different ways, maybe reduce the size of it to some degree. They were going to take that back to their board, and they had a meeting. Their meeting went, I don't know if they came to any decisions or not. I haven't heard. I did hear there was a board member that was criticizing me pretty well. I guess I've been
Was it your
criticized.
tone?
I'm sure I've been criticized before, so I guess I can live through a little
It was your
criticism.
tone, Barry.
But it's interesting. I guess I'm here to be thrown on the bus, but I don't think it's appropriate for board members to throw other board members, and whether you're partners, you're not adversaries, so. It was a little.
We're not?
We're partners.
Richard.
We are?
Yes.
We don't have to agree, for sure. That's it for now.
Okay, so I'm gonna go back to this RSVP thing.
Oh, yeah.
Erica knows about it, and Dave knows about it a little bit. But, so we found out they cut the funding for it. That's why we didn't have it here anymore. And so it was gonna cost us a lot of money. And also, those retired people have relationships with the people they're transporting. We transport people all the way to Rochester.
Yep.
And so it isn't just about the money. Money's important, but we would have lost those relationships. But the people over at Human Services looked high and low, and they found out that it was only cut to the rural areas. Okay, so if you live down by the metro, and so I think they found this one in St.
By
Cloud.
St. Cloud.
St. Cloud.
And so, but those people really went and did their job, like they do a good job, and they did a good job there. So, and it makes a big difference for everybody. And then I had safety, and so we need CPR training. We need that. So we're talking about doing it ourselves, but we don't have any money, and we need a dummy. Why not? I didn't want to, I almost didn't want to report on this, Barry.
Well, we might have some options there.
I think we can find out.
And I guess we have some old dummies somewhere.
You're
I
old.
think the sheriff got them.
He's only saying that because you're just a little bit older.
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Varberg, you mean we have to be trained or all of our
No, I'm
employees?
not gonna try and save anybody.
But all of our
If you guys see me go down, don't try and save me. But I don't dare try and save anybody.
But all our employees need to be trained?
Yeah,
We
well,
need to be.
yeah,
It's
just,
volunteer.
so they're gonna be the volunteers. And they need this training, it reoccur, they have to keep up on it. And so we're talking about doing it ourselves because we have so many employees and we should have somebody that can do this training. Can you train?
And dummies.
And we need these dummies. And so I thought the
Recess
dummies
at Annie's, but.
would be no problem, but I guess they got electronic dummies now. And if you're doing it wrong, they'll tell you
Yep.
you're doing it
Oh, yeah.
wrong. So,
Is there anything through AMC you think that might, or one of our triple C?
And then triple C.
There, or I was going to actually talk to Sheriff Glander as well, because his staff would be trained.
There's some of those
CPR. Well, you do
Groups that
do
we're
training,
involved in
right?
might have a,
Locally. Yeah. I had suggested that perhaps, for other employees, for your staff, we could team up with his department as well.
Well, I think for certain staff, we want them to be actually certified. That's what this is for, right?
Yeah.
The certification.
Certification, and I also would suggest the AED.
And then,
Yes,
and then
yeah.
if you, I mean, you guys know this, if you teach that, or you get someone, if you certify someone, you have to be certified an instructor, CPR.
Yep.
And or first aid.
and we want to take as many people in the county that want this. Anybody that wants it,
Yeah.
we want them to have it.
Mhm.
The more people that have it, the safer it is.
And we brought the training in, I think it was shortly, probably 23, 22, right when we got 2022 is the last time I can remember for other county employees when it was offered.
So do we have anybody in the county currently that is certified in instructor CPR?
Yeah, we
a
do.
trainer.
As a
Certified
trainer,
trainer.
certified.
Oh, no, we don't have a trainer, but we have people that are,
Certified
yeah.
CPR.
But so again, we don't have any money. I don't know who I talked to about that. Maybe.
Peggy.
Peggy, you got any money?
I'll write a check.
But so somehow it's the safety committee, I don't know, it doesn't have any money.
Yeah.
They want
I wonder if
some
there's grants for that.
money. Well, I don't know, but.
And it would be worth looking into to see if there's something out there.
And I think also teaming with perhaps public health, they may have some better ideas about funding or sources.
That's all I got,
Okay.
Dave.
All right, I have just a couple, so I'll go quick here. Just a couple things to add to Human Services. The Title 4E foster care continuous monitoring, okay. So I haven't actually been to a Human Service Committee for a long time, so I actually learned quite a bit. So anyway, they selected 5 cases for this, and we were all in compliance, which is great. Now, I don't know the number, I can't remember what I was told. It was either 95% throughout the whole state, or they can have like 5 cases that could be not compliant. I can't.
Yeah, we're currently under a period under review, the
Yeah,
state is.
yeah.
And if we don't, it's a big deal.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say it, it's a big
like,
deal.
So it's not just our county's compliant, the whole state has to be compliant in order to get the
Yes.
federal funding.
Mhm.
So the state is doing obviously a pre-study,
Mhm.
but there are some counties that need a lot of help, that's what I found out, and they could detriment the whole state. So that's the scary thing that yeah.
Yeah, and our county has always been
Been-
very, very
yeah.
good at 4E.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of components that come with it. And just so everybody knows what 4E is, 4E eligibility is the federal funding that pays for foster care placements.
Yep.
So it's a big chunk of money.
Yep. And so they stressed the fact that we could be compliant, but we might not get any money. So then they also had 2 audits. They had a U-Care audit, which they found a few minor things they had to correct, which wasn't a very big deal. And they also had a Medica audit, which they found a few minor things. But other than that, our human services people are doing a great job. So I think that's important for us to mention that. And then I had a historical society meeting. And on October 11th, the pavilion, the Historical Society is going to have a celebration at the pavilion. It'll be the last event in the current pavilion. So they're trying to figure out what they should do. They're talked about maybe having music for the ages. I don't know. They're running a bunch of ideas. And so it could be a really cool event, possibly for the,
The museum is putting that on?
the museum is, yeah.
Is it a funded through a state grant or?
No, they're just gonna, I'm assuming they're gonna charge
Charge to get in.
I would imagine, yeah. And then also, an interesting thing came up about the world's smallest gas station. And we used to have the world's smallest gas station in Detroit Lakes. Anyway, so what, it used to be where in front of the Greystone, I have pictures somewhere in this mess of stuff. So if anybody wants to look at, I don't know.
I want to look.
I want to see it.
So,
I'm a guest.
anyway, so
I like it.
it used to be in front of the Greystone, and then as it progressively got smaller and smaller and smaller as the Greystone expanded, as the highway expanded. So what some people, I don't know who came to Becky Mitchell, but they would like to either make a big plaque or something to put up where it used to be, or maybe somebody even said make a replica of it. And with the whole story about how the gas station started, who owned it, how it got smaller. It's tiny. If you look at it when it's done, it's just a little square, and then there was actually a basement in it too. So,
Oh, wow.
yeah, so it was kind of cool thing to talk about. Yeah, and that's that. And then I had rack with Phil, and then also Dancing Sky. So I just had a Dancing Sky meeting yesterday, and just a couple quick things. Our county they have county matching fund requests every year, and it's a very small amount. So they I had talked about 3 years ago about voting on. What the formula did is it gave more funding to 60-plus people than it did to rural areas, and so that means the metro areas got more money than they had before, so it took away some of our funding. So that's part of why the funding is going down. And then the increase in cost of everything also has gone up, and the funding is not gone up. It's basically stayed the same. So they're looking at that. They have a plan, obviously. I mean, they're pretty sharp people at that place. And then and then in some of the AAAs, the area associations on aging, they have waiting lists for meal deliveries. And I did not know that existed. I couldn't believe it. We do not have a waiting list. We have a good plan. They feel that our plan is solid for into the future, even up to, maybe up to 3-4 years. They're actually they're able to set aside some funding in case something happens, in case increased costs happen. But we are in our area that we're in the Dancing Sky, there are people that there's a donation. They can give donations when they get meals or when they bring them. And people are very generous about donating, so that's keeping the cost way down, and then they're able to deliver all the meals to people. I just couldn't believe there's a waiting list for people that need meals, that need delivered meals. I couldn't believe it. But anyway, and then the one last thing, the senior linkage line, which is what people call in to get advice, mainly for medical insurance, but other things, is going to have a name change, and they don't know what it is. So, and that's all I have. Does anybody else have anything for reports or correspondence?
I'm just going to pass this paper down. The area circled here, that's connecting those two pieces for Tamarack. And these are the survey lines that as you can read, some of them are completed and some are going. That's the grant. There's no more money going to be put towards this from the state, it sounds like, for quite some time because there's no funding. But those 2 lines have been or will be completed, if you want.
That's for the,
Survey points, section corner points. Think we're to carry?
do we have appointments?
Yeah, oh, I'm sorry.
You're the one.
I was reading. Sorry. All right, so we'll move on to appointments. So I have one appointment. I would like to make a motion, or I'll make a motion to reappoint Tom Dizzy to the Planning Commission.
Second.
So we have a motion and a second. Do we have any further discussion? Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All right, motion carries.
One other that is forthcoming, Barry, so District 3, Planning and Zoning, we had a resignation. So that is being posted, I assume now?
Yes.
So, okay, do we have
Any applicants here?
I think we have at least one.
John Okeson was going to?
Oh, nice.
Okay, and then one more.
Want to make that appointment today or are you waiting?
No, we got to wait.
We're advertising.
You don't, it's
Oh,
a, it's a
But it's
appointment,
up to you, yes.
It's your decision. It's, I mean.
Let it come through and then we'll,
You want to wait? To see if anyone else? It's up, I'm just saying,
I think we could
it's-
appoint him.
it's not a mandatory advertising time like an opening. This is a resignation, so I don't care what you do. I'm just asking you.
I'll move to appoint John Okeson to the Planning and Zoning Commission.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Phil, a second by Erica. Do we have any discussion? Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, motion carries. And then I have one more, we have one more, Wanigan Park commit, Commissioner, or former Commissioner Okeson used to be on the Wanigan Park Committee. I don't know if that's the actual name of it, but now the Frazee Development Community Corporation is basically in charge of Wanigan Park, and they would like a representative from Becker County from our commission to go to their meetings. And so.
It's my district.
It's his, yeah.
I went to it's Frazee Community Development Corporation, but they kind of manage the Wanigan Park thing. They've done some fundraising. So I went to the meeting. So I didn't know it was an appointment.
I'm not sure.
I don't know, that's why I brought it up.
I think we appointed John as the startup. I don't know what the role of a county appointment would be. I mean, there's no county funding. I mean, I don't have a problem with but I'm just not sure we're not in any other city. Are we in any other city we appoint any members to sit on city
No.
functions?
You know what? I asked on the RAC committee, I said, hey, what's going on with Wanigan? And no one knew. And then they had a meeting like the next day, so I went over there to the meeting. And, it's something, it's in my district. I'm going to go anyway.
Right.
So,
But
But
I'm just
you're
trying
right,
to, I'm just trying to figure what relationship we have to have an official appointment on there. I mean, what type of board is it?
they're not appointed by the city council, I asked. They're just for the betterment of Wanigan Park. They have no
So they just want someone, they're asking for you to show up.
representative from the county.
I think before I would support an official appointment for our board to sit on there officially, I think we have to have better understanding of what the board is. It's like Lake Park has a betterment improvement. I don't know that we want to have board members represent, you certainly are welcome to go to them and assist, but anyway.
Okay.
Barry, that's a good point. I'm going to go.
Yeah.
Just because I want to know what's going on for the RAC and it's in my district. So, but that point was taken. I didn't know how that.
Yeah.
I think we did right away because they were asking for funding and.
Yeah.
Through the Wanigan Park, but I think it'd have to be official. I would need more information.
More.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
We'll talk about that.
Sounds
Okay.
good. All right, so do you have any more appointments? All right, let's move on to our county administrator.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The first thing I wanted to let all of you know, and I think this is a happy point, Brian McDonald had received Hero of the Month award from the Red River Children's Advocacy Center. So it's up on the screen. And I thought it was important that I actually read to you what was written. We're proud to recognize Brian McDonald, Becker County Attorney, as our June Hero of the Month. Since taking office in 2018, Brian has made it his mission to protect children and hold offenders accountable. Early in his role, he prosecuted 3 major abuse cases in just a few months, and that's when his powerful partnership with the RRCAC began. From supporting forensic interviews to preparing for trial and investing in our mission, Brian continues to show up in every way that matters. Thank you, Brian, for your fierce advocacy and steadfast support. We're proud to have you in our corner.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Brian.
Yeah, congratulations.
Yeah, and
Congratulations,
I don't know
Brian.
if he's on.
And I just have to say, having worked with Brian in my previous role, Brian is very much an advocate for children. So I think it's very well deserved. So congratulations, Brian.
Yeah.
And I think he's gotten this before.
He has.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because I had to go research to make sure I wasn't repeating something from old, from the past. But congratulations, Brian. I know some of you have talked about ongoing collaboration and communication with White Earth, and I have been having, it just actually started weekly calls with White Earth, Mr. Hanks, as well as Monoman County administrators on those calls as well. So we're talking about what's happening in our area and future planning going forward. So that's been really good. When I was on my last call with White Earth, they had asked, if you recall, a while back, we had formed a I named it the We Committee, and I believe you and Becker are on that committee. There has been a request for the 2 of you off of that committee to meet with 2 of their tribal council members. And they did throw out some dates. They do have some topics of interest that they would like to discuss in more of a committee function.
Has there been any more, we had that one meeting with them at the casino. Has there been any more discussion or talk about doing more? I mean, is that a thing that we want to do or?
It's starting with this,
Yeah.
more of the committee, and I would expect that it probably will expand into the other.
Say, Carrie,
Yes.
one thing that White Earth has is they have some primitive campgrounds that they have, and I think they're pretty much first come, first served, but if there's larger events, they will take reservations, and
Right.
so I mean, maybe utilizing what how they've handled some of those primitive campgrounds, so we can duplicate the same.
That would maybe be a topic as
Yeah.
well. So I certainly, they have thrown out some dates in July of potential.
So is it just me and her or Monoman and Clearwater? Is it?
It would just, as I understand, they already do this with Monoman County and 1 or 2 of their commissioners, and they're asking to do the same here.
Okay.
So the dates that they threw out were July 8th, 9th, or 10th. They suggested perhaps a working lunch or something like that, such as that,
Anytime?
anytime.
Okay.
So,
I have to look at my work calendar
okay,
first.
yeah,
but
the 2
I'll
of
let
you
know.
just want to kind of look at the dates and let
Yeah,
me
I'll
know,
look
and I
at
can
my
coordinate
calendar.
it for you.
I'll let you know.
Yeah, you will. We have NRM on the 8th.
Okay. So in that meeting, when I was speaking to Richard Hanks from the tribe, he held a similar role that I hold here as far as administration for White Earth. He just wanted to report that White Earth has had some meetings with some of the local farmers in a work group session. So again, I think they are working to do some more of those informal meetings, and he had referenced the Zern farm and some of the farmers and some of the farmer issues that have come up in the past. So they've been meeting ongoing, it sounds like. Budgeting timeline is being put together, and suggestions. I've had this topic come up, and perhaps going forward, we may want to consider some work sessions for budgeting, perhaps during our finance time or another time as we kind of work through budgets and get additional information on state budgets and how that's going to look for us. Reminder, June 30th, there is a scheduled work session for the ordinance prioritization work session. I don't know what we want to call it, but with regards to ordinances. The lease agreement from the city of Detroit Lakes on the storage rental, I just got that yesterday. I do have it on, or wanted to, I had just formally, I had heard through the grapevine that we are awarded, as I responded to the RFP for the storage space from the city. And that was formally voted on at their city council and was awarded to the county. He just sent over a lease agreement yesterday. I've sent that off to Brian to review. The main thing that we're trying to work out is the date that we can get in there. It's either going to be July 1 or July 17th. They have Blake Shirts, I believe, is in there, and so they were working out. Technically, I think they have it until the 17th of July, so we're just working out the dates. So once that's finalized, that'll come back to board.
Well,
Yes, sir.
I mean, if it's July 1, we won't have a meeting till 2nd, is it?
It is on the 1st.
The first.
It is on the 1st.
I mean, I think we can authorize, I mean, we've already approved the
Yeah.
offer.
And
I
that's
think
fine with and again, Brian, I sent it to him yesterday upon
think
receipt, and he
we
hasn't
make-
had a chance yet to review it.
We
so.
authorize Carrie to sign on behalf of.
Yeah.
Okay.
On the already approved
Yeah.
upon,
Yeah.
and negotiate the final
Start
contract
Yeah, the final contract, yeah.
with the sheriff, and then, so you have the authority. I'll make that a motion.
Okay, so we have a
Authorize Carrie to sign off that contract.
I'll second.
so we have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion?
Yeah, I want to say one thing that I disagree with this. I'm going to go along with this because we need that equipment in one spot. So I agree with that. But we can't come back next year and redo this. We need to do, and we talked about this, Barry, we need to do something now so that next year we have a place to put that stuff. And so I don't know if this is your work session thing.
It is,
Bill,
that's exactly what I was gonna say.
But that, I don't like renting stuff.
Well, then we have a year to figure it out.
We do, but we have to get going
We
on
don't have
it
a
now.
year to figure it
So
out.
that,
We sure do. This is a year lease, right?
I think you want to start planning prior to a year.
Yes.
Yes.
We're not gonna pull out before a year if we.
no.
But we
But
need
even
to
if,
know our
no matter
plan.
what we do, we gotta have a plan when that comes.
Mr. Chair,
I agree.
I think we have a plan.
We have a plan.
It's ready to go with the board's.
You know, and that's my problem, Barry, is that plan is so expensive. And I don't know the future of the economy and other things, property taxes. And to house this emergency stuff is what I'm really concerned with. And so I don't know that can be, that I can agree with that plan. I do agree that we should build something. I would like to look at the pieces of equipment I want to look at the emergency stuff, find out what exactly we need, because your plan is very expensive and that scares me, but
Okay, so.
anyway.
Yeah, and we can discuss that. Yes.
Got a motion second.
So we have a motion and a second. Do we have any more discussion? All right, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries.
Just for Carrie to approve.
Yep. All right, go ahead. Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay, so the next item that is, there was a request by Mr. Ingham and Mr. Olson with regards to a barricade issue.
Perfect. Just before you speak, please state your names, so we know I know who you are, but.
Good morning. I'm Mike Ingham from Becker County.
Yeah.
I'm Kevin Olson from the Detroit Township.
I'm Charlie Jaskin, Detroit Township Supervisor.
I'm here on the issue that I was here about a month ago on the 245th Avenue barricade. And we've had some
Can you pull it up on the screen?
interactions back and forth via email. Initially, when I talked to Brian about it on the phone, he said, well, this has been going on for 32 years. I don't know how we go against it. Then the next email response was I don't see us granting easement, and that's the part where this isn't an easement. This is public roadway. It's a public township road. It's never been vacated. So then I went to the Detroit Township board last week and presented to the Detroit Township saying that this road that is Detroit Township's road has been barricaded. And so they agreed to come today to discuss the non-vacated road with the board.
Yeah, and I tried to work this out, you know, and somebody said we have to protect the county, but I thought that we were the county. I don't know. I think the citizens are the county and we're not protecting them. And actually, this is gonna cost us some money to fence both sides of that road. But the more I thought about this whole thing, that is just the right way to do it. You shouldn't have to, there's a road there. And the county didn't, the county government didn't want to work with your family, which is sad. But so I think that we need to fence both sides of that, and I think them guys need to take that gate down, which I believe they're ready to do. I don't see any
meaning
reason why we would do
Steve?
anything different.
The township.
Charlie and.
Oh, okay.
Here's the deal, it's not as simple as an agreement between two parties if a road gets vacated. It's a very extensive process to vacate a township road.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, we researched the minutes, I talked to old county or township people, the road and maintenance guys, everybody, and, because all there was agreement between the Schlotterhoff family and, the county at that time, which was just kind of a working relationship. But as far as a vacation or anything like that, there was never even brought to the town boards.
Has there been any maintenance by the township on that?
Yeah, we did maintenance up through about 20 years ago.
Okay.
They graded it once or twice a year. But then I even tried talking to some of the old maintenance guys, families and that stuff, but their last three maintenance guys, they've all passed, so we can't talk to them. But I know there was a key that they had access to that road, and they maintained it up until, I'm guessing it was about 15, 16 years ago when one road maintenance guy passed on and his son took over his business, and his son just did not do it anymore after that. But that's, technically, I mean, that barricade never should have been put up there. I mean, you're blocking a public road.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the good thing is, it's for 30-some years, it's worked out that between the Slaughterhouse and the county, nobody cared.
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't hear any complaints, so we thought, well, fine, I mean, if everybody's happy, we're not gonna rock the boat. But now there's some circumstances that are changing.
And we're happy with the original agreement, but the problem is it needs to be recorded that we have access, and that agreement was never recorded. And obviously, so then it falls back on the public roadway as our easement, because the southeast quarter there is adjacent to that road piece.
What do you want?
Well, to be honest, I'd rather keep it the way it is. But how do we get there when we're violating the public road right away?
And you guys you want to get rid of the
Well,
barricade?
This is the deal. No, personally, we don't care. But is all it's gonna take is for one person to wanna build a house back there or put a cabin or something back there, and they're gonna require public access to it. And we're gonna have no choice. That barricade's gonna have to come down.
And that's,
Is Jim-
unfortunately, that's probably, I've thought this over, because you guys are using it for sledding. It's right behind my house. I see them out there sledding and doing different things back there. But what if somebody does wanna do something? It limits the use of that land, is what it does do. And, I'm almost glad it went this far, because the right thing to do is open that road. That's,
We've
and
almost
fence
been
both sides.
We've been violating statutes all along for 30-some years by barricading and closing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we can't, even if we wanted to vacate that road, we can't, because all that property would be landlocked.
Yeah.
So according to state statute, we've all been in violation of it, and the right thing to do is.
Mr. Chair, I want to do the right thing here.
Yeah.
I believe a lot of what Richard said, that 30 years ago probably didn't, we just kind of handshake agreement. I want to provide the access. I think we need to do that. However, in the last 30 years, we've put a millions of dollars into all of that stuff there, and we want to protect our asset out there. I assume those gates are all closed at night, so you can't get into that's why the gate was probably put up, I don't know, by us or whoever.
It was put
We,
up by the pollution control.
okay. That might be another issue if they have an issue with it.
We don't care what they think. Here's what I'm gonna, we
the code
don't.
number?
Phil, I do have an answer for you. When I did talk to pollution control to see if they had a copy of this signed agreement from 32 years ago, which they may in St. Paul in some dungeon, but they had no knowledge of it at their office here in DL. They advised that when they initially put the fence up is before the methane gas that was coming off. Well, now the methane gas is coming off at such a low rate, it's not a risk anymore. So we've actually now to the point where, so that's why
we looked for some alternative ways to get in across the railroad tracks on 59 into a property there, but that won't work because there's some kind of a covenant there that, and then
The railroad goes through there and they're not gonna allow that. And
The
then the
railroad-
other side is really tough,
the
but
west side is,
all it would take for us is a fence on each side of that road and some gates. And
got a gate
that's-
now.
Huh?
We got a gate now.
No, I mean, take that gate out of there and fence both sides of that township road
You know where it
and
goes?
gate it. And then this is done, I hate to see you get into something that you wish you wouldn't have done. Should somebody want to live back there? There's a lot of
What road is
grandchildren
this?
involved.
What road is it?
245th.
245.
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Varberg, wouldn't that, if you gated that and put fence on either side, but we wouldn't be able to get to our demolition landfill then,
We
right?
just open the gates when it's during.
Yeah, bisecting, crossing.
Yeah, we just close the gates at night, open them during the day, and it's a really good long-term plan for you, rather than the key system that we're using now. And I don't even know what kind of, we can't give you access to that road. They'd have to give you access to that road. After we looked into all this, the county ain't got no power here, which I'm glad they don't, because if they did, you'd get a boot in the rear end.
Oh,
Right by
no.
Church Road.
So anyway, we don't have anything to say about it. I hope you guys just do
Well,
the right thing.
it's set in stone. All we do is what's in statute.
Yeah.
I mean,
Isn't there, like after 7 years or 6 years, if you haven't maintained a road,
25 years.
25.
It's,
It's actually
if,
25.
no,
if you're maintaining it,
And
it's
not
7
being
that's a
years.
township thing?
25.
If you're maintaining a road,
You've
then
looked?
you have adverse possession,
Yeah.
up from 7 years.
It's in the Matic magazine as well.
Well, we want to do the right thing anyway. I
We
just don't know what
just
that
need to
is.
do the right thing. Land is getting more and more expensive.
Can you pull up the GPS and show us where it is on overhead on the,
You're asking the person that's really horrible. I've got Detroit Township on.
there's Jim.
computer.
Jim's probably knows more about this than anyone.
Off 140.
I even know how to do GPS.
Well,
What are you
what am I
trying to
looking
do?
it's right off County
There
141,
now.
It's off one.
just on the east side of the landfill.
Give me this thing. Well, I know I'm not qualified.
141?
But I use
One-
this all
yeah.
the time.
Let me see.
That's one.
And-
May I approach you, sir?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, just bring it up.
Mr. Chair, so you guys would like to keep it the way it is. That's for
We-
township
we
and for him?
Personally, don't care.
Okay,
It's just,
144.
if we keep kicking the can down the road,
Yep,
it's not
yep.
gonna get any better.
No.
So I think that
Yeah,
if
I'm
nothing
looking right
else,
here.
So this is where the
So
gate.
we need to get a plan at least
Yeah, I
started,
know.
so we have an idea where we're
Thanks,
gonna end.
Mark.
Okay.
Need more technical help, just call.
It's 144.
It runs south from 144.
144, yeah, we said 141.
Oh, okay.
Everything's right here.
Yeah.
They're all the same.
So it runs past the HHW?
Yeah, right next, just to the
Correct.
west
That-
of that.
That was the Dave Early property that the county bought, and that's in that sale of the Dave Early property from my first meeting. It says that west line is the public roadway.
Mr. Chair, Carrie, can you give us an update? What has the attorney said? Because we had the attorney look at it. What was his recommendation or?
Where's the property that you access then?
Further south of there, at the southeast quarter of that, Barry.
Be half a mile south of 144.
Yeah. So that township road runs a half mile down to the middle of the section,
Okay.
and that's the access.
Do you want to, maybe? Is that right?
That's the
Is the
road
map
on
right?
there off 144 through.
Yeah.
Do you want
Yep.
a pointer to show?
Down to this
Oh, sure.
property.
With
So,
regards, with
If you
regards,
see where the 17 is there, this is section 17. This is 245th.
Yep.
And then our property goes south here, down this way. And so this public access from here to here is 245th. And that is adjacent to our corner.
So you can see our construction and demolition landfill on the right-hand side.
This is
And on
Dave
the,
Early's, and this actually was my grandfather's before he sold it to the county for the
Yeah.
demolition site.
so on the left-hand side, we've got the, the MRF is all down there, all of our, so I assume we don't want people coming in and out of there after hours. That's the gate, I assume.
And this is where the reclaim was done for the Superfund.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Is
Thank you.
the whole south side, is that fenced or that also have to be fenced?
All you'd have to do is both sides of the road back to your property
Yeah.
and some gates. It's the simplest thing, and it would allow you to do anything with that land in the future. That's what.
Who's paying for the fencing, Richard?
We're paying for it, Phil, because they tried to work something out for us. They did the right thing by helping us in the first place.
And it's
Okay,
our
so
property we need
They
to
did the right
protect.
thing years ago, and they came back to us, and we turned them down because we're crappy. And so now we just need to do the right thing.
I mean, I think what it comes down to is they don't, other than their Becker County taxpayers, they don't have to worry about, the people going in there. It's us that we
Yeah, no.
need to
And that's-
protect that.
we
We
just
need to build the
put up a
fence.
fence.
I don't know that we need to, fence everything. I think, I got my pointer, how's this? I don't know that we need to fence this whole line. I think we need to put gates here and fence it so it's not accessible, our property here, and then gates here and here. And you might have to stretch this side, but I don't know, we don't necessarily need fencing on the,
West side.
Commissioners,
And,
I
you know,
just say, the fencing is not my concern.
Right.
The gate is my concern and the access and
Yeah, we-
so forth. So from my other side of my professional side, I'd rather have it gated at the road because dead-end township roads like that are a place for dope deals and other things, illegal dumping. I get that. But at the end of the day, the statute says that the road must be open. So I don't know a
hopefully,
workaround.
hopefully, I think we will have, we have some cameras on site and we're, so hopefully even the household hazardous waste has cameras. If not, I think that, I'm sure you do, and if you don't, get them. But I think we take this gate out then and gate here, here, and here, and probably here also. And extend those gates so people can't gain access on the
You
road.
could
What are
gate
Steve's
your
thoughts?
property.
Yeah, we'd put a gate at our access point, so.
To that road. But if you do that, you know, you have to maintain it. You have to think about how you're gonna turn that equipment out. And
They don't have to maintain it.
Yeah, they do. It's
Yeah,
a
we do.
township road. That's what they're,
We'd have to maintain the road,
Minimal maintenance.
yeah.
Minimal.
Yeah.
Minimal maintenance.
Yep.
so I find that's effective.
Yeah, there's lots of minimal maintenance that's there.
There's a lot of roads like that.
Yeah, you're not going to do snow removal.
No.
That'll be up to the county to access their property, so.
Maybe a grading once a year.
Yeah, and honestly, the county's using that.
We're gonna use it anyway.
We're gonna be
We're gonna use it.
grading that
but-
because if we degrade the road also.
Mr. Chair, Carrie, could I get, what was our attorney's issue, or
yes, he had reviewed it, and as of yesterday, he had tried to set a meeting or get in touch, I believe it was with your attorney or the attorney representing your trust, and that had not happened, so. That's
But
where
he
it was- that's
did
where it was
not
left.
think it would be in the county's best interest to sign the,
Yeah,
The gating,
yeah.
correct.
I think,
I think
we move forward.
we
and-
move
and
forward.
Gate our accesses and make
Yep.
that, if the request is from the township, I don't think we have a choice.
Yep.
And I think
Yeah.
it's a township road,
Yep.
grant the township, take that for, I think you had access to it if you wanted before, but,
Yeah, we had a key to it.
so then we just, if we grant access to that, then
We
the
are
county
just
just
gonna
has
have
to
to-
figure it out
we
after
just have to
that?
protect our properties
Yeah, we
from
have-
trespass.
Yeah.
Well,
So I don't,
That's not that hard to do.
No. So do we have a motion to, what do we want, to remove the
I
gate?
don't know, I don't know if we.
we don't.
Allow the
I don't
township
think we
to,
gotta
I
do
think
it.
they don't have to do anything,
I
township
think
just,
we actually put this in the discussion saying that the township acknowledged this issue or the county, and we are going to cooperatively, in
Work with-
agreement with the township and the landowners, remove the gate. And so everyone has access and gate our own properties access points.
okay.
And then in the meantime, I think NRM needs to, or not NRM, Environmental Services needs to get some quotes.
And if you want that in the form of a motion, Carrie, do you suggest it?
I would suggest a motion moving forward. They can get quotes or for the work that you're suggesting needs to be done.
Mr. Chair, are there any other options?
There's no good option, Phil, for the future. I don't want to see this township road not being maintained anymore, just in case this board were to change, and then we fight you guys to do, because the land needs to have access to it, or
Yeah.
it loses value, and it loses options on what can be done there. And this should have never been done in the first place. And
Mr. Chair.
It's not a hard thing to fix. This is easy to fix.
Well,
now.
I completely concur with what you're saying on that point, but I'd like to protect our assets up there. We've got millions of dollars, but these gates, I mean, people drive across, around, they go out there, throw
Put a
garbage in the
camera
middle.
up in the gates, and
I-
everybody.
That's my concern,
Yeah,
is
well,
protecting
we
the
have
county's
to-
interests.
And I think we can figure that.
We can figure that
out. We'll do that, but right now we have to,
Mr. Chair,
do this.
I think the other thing that's important for us to remember, as was stated by Detroit Township, is we're violating statute.
we are violating
I
statute.
mean, this isn't just about what's right or what's protecting our assets. We're in the wrong by gating that road off. So we need to take the gate down. Then it's up to us to figure out what to do from here.
And
For our
we can
vote.
handle
And from
that.
Yeah.
here, I'll make a motion for environmental services to get quotes to see what it would cost to
Gate access.
gate accesses.
I'll second.
Commissioners, as a
Hold on a
as a
second.
group,
So hold on a second.
Yeah.
We have a motion and a second now. Do we have any discussion? Go ahead.
I was just going to offer the fact that because there is some public safety concern through the pollution control side of things, that I think we could be in agreement from the people that are involved in this roadway for a little bit, for safety wise, allow the gates to be built if you choose to do that. And we can continue to work together for a couple months. I mean, I don't want the gate down today kind of mentality.
Yeah.
I think in the overall interest, I think we could work
Yeah,
through that
it's-
as a group. And just so you guys don't have your back against the wall for public safety issues, if you decide to go with gating.
So, Mr. Chair, will those, by gating those couple roads that Barry was pointing to, is that, not you guys, I mean, amongst us, is that going to be enough? I know you talk about cameras at
That's
some
what
of
we
our
have to figure out.
facilities.
Well,
But you said you didn't want the gate open today, but you want it open.
Well, we want to
Relatively
recognize
soon.
that the township road is there and that the gate
Yeah.
will come down, yep, so.
I think
But
those
is,
are,
We don't have a plan going forward, though. I mean, we don't. The
But
But I
county
think
doesn't.
that's what.
if
Steve's
it
doing.
took
That's
a
what Steve's
year
gonna do.
for that to
That's
get
what the motion is
accomplished,
for.
that wouldn't,
Okay.
I don't think that wouldn't affect the township, or I
Right.
don't think it would affect you guys.
Just our keys and our agreement is still working today. It's just the idea that it all stemmed from the fact that there is no recorded access on that agreement, so.
We also don't want to put this out a year. We
Yeah,
are
no,
violating
we
No,
don't.
but I mean, if it came to that, that would not be the end of the world as far as we're concerned.
Mhm.
You know, it needs to be taken care of, but it doesn't have to be taken care of next week, is what we're
Yep.
saying.
Yeah.
But I think we should set a date on when we're gonna open it, so things can be achieved by then.
I'd like to have a plan, and
Just kick that.
fair, Charlie. I'd like to have a plan in place from the county's perspective before we open up the gates, so we know, so Steve doesn't get blindsided.
And that's what I was
That's what our
proposing.
motion on the table is for.
Okay.
And that's what this motion is going to do. It's going to allow, or, well, it's going to,
No, I don't need it.
so we have a motion and a second. Does anybody want to amend the motion?
Charlie has a question.
Yeah,
One more
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
If the gates aren't enough down the road in the future, you'll just end up fencing more of it to protect it, that's
Yeah.
all. But maybe starting with gates would be a good.
You might have to go down the slope and,
Yeah.
So there are-
but certainly, hopefully you don't have to gate, I don't like fencing. I just-
I
So,
like fences.
so we have a
You
motion.
yeah, I want this recorded. He said he likes U.S. Fish and Wildlife fencing.
I hate U.S. Fish and Wildlife.
So we have a motion and a second. Does anybody, would any of the motioners like to amend to have a date, or do we want to work on that, do that
I think
later?
we have to wait until.
I think we have to wait till we find
till we
out.
get bids and figure
Yeah, I
out
think
what
so
the
too.
But we'll move it
plan
along.
is.
Yeah, we'll move it along.
We will.
Yeah,
Thank you for your time today.
thank you.
All right, so we have motion and second. Any more discussion? Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye. 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 Opposed, motion carries.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank
Thank
you.
you.
Charlie, might as well wait a minute.
Or
Charlie.
Do you have anything else?
There's a discussion on Pelican Watershed building. If you just want to wait just a minute. Are we next? Is that next?
That's next. Yes. You-
All right, yes.
It was pulled, so I think.
Mr. Chair, the only thing on this agreement, if you look at description of property and it's on the as-is portion of it, it says, the bill of sale does not include the sale of any real property. Title to the real property where the property is located will remain vested in the seller.
It's supposed to be buyer.
It's supposed to be buyer,
I mean, so
What page is that on?
17.
on
We-
page 17
We
of
had a
102.
discussion about changing that. Maybe it didn't get changed by the time it got to you.
Maybe I changed the.
This is the bill of sale, and it says on the bottom, the bill of sale does not include the sale of any real property. Title to the real property where the property is located will remain vested in seller.
It should be buyer.
It should vested in buyer,
Good catch.
yeah.
Yeah, we caught that before and then.
I mean, I don't know if you had any, I mean, that wasn't your intent. I want to make sure that Pelican Watershed has no interest
Oh, yeah.
in the property. That's my,
Yeah, Peggy
Okay.
just, yeah.
Yeah,
Put the
We
wrong one
had
in
that
there.
discussion and yes, it does need to be changed. You're
I
absolutely
changed
right.
it, but put the wrong one in the packet.
okay,
That was me.
that's all I,
so do we need a motion to change that, or can we just allow them to change that word?
That's a big deal.
That's a big
I
word.
think the motion needs to be,
That seller
if
change.
you're going to make the motion, it needs to be contingent on the chain.
The modification
Yep.
to the buyer.
Okay. So who wants to make that motion?
with that, I'll make the motion.
Okay, all right. We have a motion, very second by Phil. Okay, any more discussion?
Just
Yeah.
wanted to reiterate my
Yeah.
thoughts on it.
All-
Don't agree with it.
All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Thanks, Charlie.
Opposed?
Aye.
Aye. Motion
Now you
carries.
can do your roll.
Do you want,
Roll call.
okay, roll call? Commissioner, aye?
No.
Yes.
Aye.
Yes.
Yes, all right.
And just to note, if we do ever have a meeting out there, Commissioner will have to park on the highway. Not park on site.
I will
She did
gladly
not
park on
agree
the
with
highway.
official parking.
And then walk the rest of the way?
I'll walk the trail. Steve trolls.
All right, Carrie, do you have any?
Did we
They-
vote? I don't think, did we vote on it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
We did
We
a
did
roll
roll
call. Thank you, Mr. Chair. That is all I have.
All right, so next we have Cody from our EDA.
You know, you're not too far behind schedule.
No, we're pretty good.
No.
We're gonna speed up.
Morning, Cody. 3 chairs up there.
Morning, Commissioners. In your packet, you have a summary of a request for the allocation of funding, state legislative aid that the county has received, and a summary of the project for it to be allocated for. The request is just to get confirmation that this aid can be used for that project so we can proceed with an RFP based on that scope of work to get the final cost to propose to the board for approval and then proceed with that project. In a nutshell, this would be for a property that we own. It's about 30 years old. So the primary concern is to the exterior of the building.
Barry, if you'll look at the pictures you got.
And
Is
There's
this
some
where the
pictures
fire
there.
was? Remember that fire we had?
No, no.
No, this
Yeah,
one is just flaking off. It just needs help.
yeah, again, just summarize that as it's one of our primary rental properties, 12-unit complex, providing a very affordable option for living in our community to our tenants. And
Would this increase the rental on it, or would it?
no,
Okay.
no, this would be, again, This has come up as a little bit of a, it stalled out a few conversations with some other housing projects and stuff, just because looking at a county-owned property, seeing some cosmetic concerns, I guess. And again, it's 30 years old. We're reaching the end of the life cycle on some of this stuff, but we want to take care of that project. Additionally, we just replaced the roof on both the apartment and the garage unit, so now would be the time to do the rest of it. So it's all on the same schedule moving forward, and just have that property secured for the next 30 years, hopefully. And internally, everything's pretty good. We take care of that stuff with tenant move-outs, turnovers, and that sort of thing. So right now, that's our primary concern, is the exterior. And again, with the replacement of the roofs, that came out of our capital reserves, which pretty much drained that account. So we don't have much operating capital to do this project, and that's where we're requesting to source it from.
Cody, Mr. Chair, Cody, what's going on with the MMCDC? They're your manager, so do they manage this redoing of all of this?
Yep, they have a property
Manager?
site manager that
Okay.
takes care of the tenant stuff, and then their maintenance crew that does, the requested approved items. But this is, again, kind of one of those unique
Yeah.
scenarios that don't come up often, because, it only happens when, like you're seeing this 30 years later after it's built.
Yep.
And,
And this property we own,
We just
like they're,
get paid for.
yeah,
correct.
we own nothing on
Paid
it.
off our debt on it, so,
And it's it's probably the property that we own that has the least amount of turnover. It's,
Right.
It's,
The
does
tenants are
well.
Very good
Yep.
there.
so I think we need to
And it
take care of
looks-
the property.
And it looks bad, and we need to take care of it. It's a very expensive building. So it really just needs to be done, that's all. We don't have any choice.
So our options are, we take out a loan to do it, or we utilize this aid.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what we do.
And this is a way that we can use the aid to fix up that property. So the EDA has recommended that we use the statewide affordable housing aid that we've gotten the last 3 years. It won't take up the whole aid, but it will take up a good chunk of it.
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Jeffson, do you need a motion on this, or do you want to make a
Yes.
recommendation?
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we allocate the statewide affordable housing to the EDA to use for the Maple Avenue. Is that what the motion should be?
I will
I'll second. Go ahead, Phil.
No,
So,
give Richard one.
all right, so we got a motion by Eric, a second by Richard. Do we have any more discussion?
Mr. Chair, perhaps you want to, I'm just wondering, you're going to send out an RFP for bids as well? on this
yeah, we have the
project?
RFP ready to go essentially, so.
I think we have to prove that at the EDA next week,
Okay.
the RFP. Mm-hmm. Okay.
And did your motion and second include that as
No, that was going to be, do we
an
want to,
approved pending?
Does the RFP need to come here?
Pending EDA approval?
pending,
I would suggest that you do it all in one, and then you can
Pending
discuss
our-
it, pending
Pen-
review
So
by
that we
the-
don't need to
EDA
bring the RFP here before we
no.
send it out?
That's
no,
correct.
Pending the RFP approval
That
by
would
the.
just maybe be easier.
I amend my motion.
Okay.
to include
Is
that.
good with you, Richard?
But we like Cody.
So we have a motion and a second with an amendment. Do we have any more discussion? All right, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? All right, motion carries.
Thank you.
Yes, thanks, Cody. All right,
Cody, I have
If
I
I
have
could
a,
just, go ahead.
go ahead, Cody.
I was just going to jump back quickly to the reports and correspondence on the safety committee. One of the things that we did was developed an updated incident reporting form. It's online, so it's accessible for, off-site use and that sort of thing. But as commissioners, the county or at different facilities attend a lot of different things. So that would be something that you can access to fill out in the event that you, have any near misses or just on-site accidents or stuff like that to report. So just felt that I would make that work for you guys.
Thank you, Cody.
thanks, Cody, and thanks for doing a good job with that safety committee.
Cody, my comment was, this morning we had a person on open forum that had some comments and had some about some Section 8 vouchers. And I think Carrie, if you and Carrie want to, it made some that we should look into a little bit, just to make sure that everything's
Absolutely.
Yeah,
going,
that's
so, if you didn't,
Concern, or was it a?
yeah, well, just you and Carrie can do a
Follow up
follow-up
and
on those.
see what it is. Yeah.
I'm not asking you to report, because
No.
some of that stuff is sensitive information, but I
pretty
certainly think we need to
Yeah,
Follow up on that.
I
do
agree.
a follow-up.
Yeah.
Okay, yep.
Thank you.
Thanks, Cody.
Thanks, Cody.
All right, Jim for highway.
We're only 9 minutes behind,
I
guys.
know, gotta go fast, Jim.
Talk fast, Jim, we're behind.
Believe it or not.
All right. Morning, Commissioners. I believe there's 5 items now for your consideration. First item is a bid award. This is for the district-wide safety edge line striping project. We are the lead on that project this year, encompassing 11 other counties, or 11 counties total, I mean. But bids came in good. The low bidder, Camco out of Dassel, came in at 1.8 million and some odd dollars, and we're recommending award to them. This was 13% below the engineer's estimate, so.
The 1.8 is for the district then?
For the whole district,
Not just
The whole,
Becker
the whole
County.
district.
Correct.
So do we have,
I'll-
go ahead.
I'll make that motion to
nice.
approve this
Two.
bid award.
2C?
Sir Lion's Law.
2C.
Yep.
I'll second.
Do we have a motion for 2C by Phil and a second by Richard? Do we have any more discussion?
Jim, I have one question. So if we have something that comes in under bid, where does the money go that wasn't used? Does that go back into the general fund?
No, for this particular project, like all our safety projects this year, including the rumble strips and the lighting project, actually the rumble stripe project had 100% funding from federal funds, and we had excess money. They held those in case our bids on the lighting project went over the estimate. They didn't. They came in under. So that extra money too was pooled together and still saved, and it'll be used towards this. This project wasn't fully funded at 90%. I believe it will be now, because they'll move those monies over that we saved on our other 2 projects, but we are responsible for 10% of this.
What about like the Highway 7 project came in? Now, we re-spent that money, but where would that money have flowed? Was that
We
county
would have-
state aid highway funds, or does it only come if you use it, or is it in your account?
It's our account. We're only using state aid funds now, or our sales tax monies, to fund our road projects. So when bid comes under, we just don't spend it. So that makes more money
For the
available
next?
for the next year or whatever, as we do our budgets each year.
So how is that recorded? Like, do we know what number we carry forward in highway? Like, $500,000 is carried forward from projects that we were under budget? Do we
Well-
know that?
Well, realizing like state aid funds aren't encumbered until the project is awarded. So those funds are sitting in our state aid account at MnDOT, and we make payment requests, when we award our projects.
So that's not even at the county yet. That's at,
No,
That's
it's
at the
not part
state?
of our levy or included in our budget, per se. So
And we
those
can-
But
monies
it's-
are
but it-
still banked there for us. to use.
those are allocated
Yes,
for us being held at a different place.
correct.
And you can go negative on those.
You can go negative.
Motion and a
Do
second.
we have a
So
motion?
if your projects go over, then you can borrow against a future allotment and stuff like that, so, which we have done in the past
Thank you.
as well.
All right, so we have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion
And
carries.
before we had the sales tax funding available, we were at near maximum borrowing. I mean, there was times when we were borrowed for the
Correct.
next year.
Yep.
And that actually had some purpose also, because there was some programs that,
Yeah, we did that actually for the building, the new Public Works building, our highway building, that we took an advance, a whole year's advance, to pay part of the funding of that building. And through, those advances and good bid prices and that, we caught up rather quickly. I believe it was in 3 years, so we're even now again. But that 4.5 million that we borrowed against it in advance, one thing you look at it, that was essentially zero interest dollars for us.
Yeah,
So that
that's
was
good.
kind of huge. So,
thank you, Jim.
Yeah, thanks, Jim. Go ahead.
all right, next item. We're requesting to try a new product on our roads. It's an alternative to seal coat. The product is called Reclamite. It's an asphalt rejuvenator. It essentially does similar things in a different fashion to preserve the road, surface road. We're looking at using this on some roads in town here, Westlake Drive, Highland Drive, Richwood Road within town here, and our parking lot at the new Public Works building. We think it's probably would be a little better product because it's a little bit cleaner. It doesn't have the loose rock and stuff like that. We tried a similar product back a few years up on County 14, which was called a replay product, which is a soybean-based product. This is more of a petroleum and different products blended that rejuvenates and makes the asphalt more resilient, therefore lasting longer. So its price on this is very similar to, or very close to what we pay for our seal coat costs doing it internally at approximately $1.15 a square yard. We're looking at those projects with an estimated cost, maybe $95,000 or less. We're hoping, and we'd like to try that project.
The soy-based product is still expensive?
Yeah,
Didn't work real well either.
Worked very good.
Well, the soybean product has been working well, but we haven't just noticed anything different. So,
Yeah,
and it's
not
only
quite
2 years
twice as
old, so
much.
it's kind of hard to tell.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a little bit more expensive at $2 a square yard.
I'll move to approve the Reclamite test project here with this new.
I'll second.
So we have a motion by Phil and a second by Richard. Do we have any discussion? Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries. All right, Jim.
Next item, we're looking at adding a special overweight permit to our permitting system and permitting policy. This is allowed through state statutes to use on vehicles hauling construction materials like gravel and asphalt or construction equipment to and from projects. This would provide benefit to our projects, if a contractor could haul. It essentially allows the vehicle to go overweight of the maximum limit by adding more axles. It doesn't exceed the axle limit weights in state statutes. So if you have a 6-axle trailer, you can increase the gross vehicle weight to 90,000 pounds or from 90 to 99,000, I'm sorry, or to
90 to 99.
99, yep. Or if you have a 7, you can go up to
97.
97, yep.
So Richard and I thought that this was going to wear out our roads faster. It's not. They're just providing more
I didn't
axles.
think that, Phil.
Or I did. Sorry, Richard.
I've got 10 axles on.
So it's really, and it's not during, when the frost is coming to the ground, none of that.
Mr. Chair.
Flies.
And
I'll
it
make a
doesn't
motion
apply to load-restricted bridges or roads.
Allow Highway Department begin using this special overweight annual permit in compliance with Minnesota Statute 169.869.
I'll second.
So a motion by Barry and a second by Phil. Do we have any further discussion? All right, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Carries.
Mr. Chair, that did also include the fees and the application permit
Yeah.
itself.
Correct, yep. And those fees are spelled out in
3
statute
and
as
5,
well.
yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Next item is the kind of our annual report, the distribution to you and for your review and acceptance. Essentially, this is another item required under state statutes that where we report annually all the expenses and projects and such and maintenance work that we do in the city or in the county of Becker here. Last year, kind of the report is laid out. The first few pages provide summaries, and then the last pages or the rest of the book provides the detail on those expenditures. But we had a big year again last year. We had essentially about $12 million of construction work and $3.5 million of maintenance work broken out in all these different areas. But our accountant has to go through this annually and puts a lot of effort into this. This is one of the big part of her job that she does in the spring here. So I guess no formal action required on this. Just here if you had questions, or if you have any questions anytime during the year, you can kind of refer to this or call me, and I can, pull this up quickly for you on expenses on our roads or projects. And you can even look back and see what we paid for all our equipment in the past 10 years or so, and you can see how those prices have increased on our plow trucks over the years and that.
Jim, this is in our packet, and we can, the whole thing. Could you send this in a separate PDF, though, so we can save it, just
Okay,
this? Because
yep.
otherwise, we'll have to try to remember the date that
What
was
date
presented.
it
Sure.
came, yeah.
Yeah, just send it to us so we can save it, in that format. But
Perfect.
this, I've been here many years, and this is a huge undertaking for and it has to be done to be in compliance with state and federal funding. So it's not an easy task. So thank you to Angela, who kind of spearheaded this in your department, I'm assuming, and Brian and Jonah and Jim for their time put in it. It's and you can dissect any project or just put everything in through this document. So,
Jim, in large numbers, like I see what we get for the Becker County sales tax. I see what our allocation is from the county, what taxpayers pay, about 2.4 million. The rest of our road project, you said we spent about 12 million last year. The rest of that money comes from county, state aid, highway funds.
It comes from state aid, highway funds. Sometimes we have federal aid funds or grant funds we apply for and are successful on. And the sales tax monies.
About 3.5, yep.
Yep. Some of them are cooperative agreements with, if we have joint projects with the city, those projects, they're partially funded by them or, their portion of the project. So we kind of capture all that stuff in here.
Okay.
All right. Anybody else have any questions for Jim about the highway annual report? All right, Jim, you have one more item.
do we make a motion to accept the report?
No, we don't need to. I don't think we do. Do we need to have a motion to accept? I don't think so.
Finally, we're requesting, we have started negotiating a change order on the Lake Park project. What we asked the contractor some pricing on. In that project, we're doing a mill and overlay project throughout the city and City of Lake Park on Highway 7 and County Road 80, and also doing sidewalk and ADA work. Our bids came in very reasonable, so we asked about doing some upgrades as far as the pavement is concerned. North of the bridge, going all the way up to the intersection with 7 and 9 at the north edge of the city there. The pavement is a little bit more distressed, so we thought we would like to see what it would cost to reclaim that road instead of just do a 2-inch mill and overlay. That's
some
essentially
deep.
Deeper. Remove all the pavement, essentially blend it in the base. That provides a better product and a lasting fix. Our first rounds of negotiations with them we got some pricing that was a little bit higher than we expected. We want to continue negotiating with them to see if we can get that down where it'd be reasonable right now. The price is about $250,000 increase to the contract to reclaim that. We were hoping to be, under $200,000 on that. So we'd like to get permission to continue that, and if we could come to agreement on that with them, we would like to be authorized to do that through a change order. Our change order policy requires anything over $100,000 on construction projects to be approved by the board.
So, Mr. Chair, you want a motion to authorize the Highway Committee to negotiate a
change order up to 200,000?
Up to about, 200 to 225.
Okay.
I think, because if you look at it, $250,000, this fix would be good for 30 years, but $250,000 buys probably 2 mill and overlays. So, we could have the same results of doing nothing right now.
I don't think we put a price on it. I think Highway Committee, authorize Highway Committee to negotiate this change, negotiate this change order.
So is that your motion?
Yeah, I'm just looking at Carrie. Do you think we need to put it out? We acknowledge the general amount.
I would say up to the.
And
So we'll say up to 225?
We,
I
agree?
if we go up to 225, we throw our hand out there. I don't, I mean, obviously you can watch. I just think we acknowledge that the change order for this.
and then,
And we will, and it'll come back for,
or do you want to authorize the highway committee to?
I would authorize the highway committee to negotiate,
Yeah.
to negotiate the change order and come back to ratify it
Yeah, okay.
at the board.
So do you have, that's your motion?
And it can be signed authorizing signature, but
Yeah.
ratify it afterwards. So yes, that's a motion.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, so we have motion by Barry, second by Richard. Do we have any more discussion?
Mr. Chair, Jim, when we had talked about this at Highway, we were talking about a number, but we thought it would come in underneath that number, I
Correct,
thought.
yeah, we didn't have the numbers at that time.
So, I mean, the next question is Barry's question all the time, is it in budget?
Yes, we have, like I said, the pricing, that we had estimated that project, to be over $2 million. So there is state aid funds available to make up this difference, or to pay for this improvement or increased work.
There are state aid funds
Yes.
dedicated to us at our county to pay for this, so we would not be over budget on this.
Nope.
Okay.
All right, do we have a motion second?
I just want to clarify then, if Jim feels the price comes in unreasonable, that we don't have to do this.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. That's,
This
yeah.
is for you to negotiate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because not doing it, it will still be,
Or to.
It'll still be a nice project.
Yeah.
Or to change,
Yeah.
or to change the scope of the reclaim, maybe not do as extensive, but that right at Main Street where the business, I mean, not that there's any businesses left to the extent, but that is some real deep cracks by the
There's some-
post office.
there's some
that
big
are
ones
really,
there, yeah.
really tough.
Yep.
So I mean, you can change the scope of the total if it's as long as a reduction, not an increase.
Yep.
All right, so do we have any more discussion? All right, we have a motion second, so all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jim.
Thanks, Jim.
Thanks, Jim.
Steve?
Mr. Chair, board members, Carrie,
Steve?
Peggy. Basically, got a capital expenditure request for some containers for Source Separate Organics Recycling Program. The first request is to approve us to spend up to $3,801.60 to buy small containers that will be given out to the public, and these will be paid for with grant funds. So the request is to allow us to buy these from Orbis Corporation. Any
I think
questions?
we can do the two requests together, can't we? I think so.
If you want to.
Yeah.
So it'd be that, and then also spending $38,324. That's going to be, we're going to purchase containers from the Dakota Corporation. Dakota Paper Companies are their distributor. So it's basically, these are Toter style containers, or that's a manufacturer. So,
And Steve, these are included within the grant dollars
are.
that we got.
yep, this is all part of the plan to,
I will, can I do both of those at the
Yeah,
same
I
time? or-
do them both at the same time. Yeah.
I would, they got numbers on?
Yep.
3801.
The first one is
Board motion approving.
3801.60, and the second one is 38324.
Yes, I will make that motion.
Okay, so we have a motion by Phil
I'll second.
and second by Richard. Do we have any more discussion? Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, motion carries.
thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks, Steve.
Thanks, Steve.
Does anybody need a break, or let's finish up?
This shouldn't take long.
No? All right, Kyle.
Well, cannabis, the word cannabis probably will take a long time.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, Commissioners. Just have discussion today on a joint powers agreement between us and Heideland Township. Since cannabis has, I guess, started within the county, Heideland has had significant interest in cannabis itself. And as you guys are aware, we have a joint powers agreement with 6 other townships right now for subdivision control. This agreement would be similar. We would handle the application process, do all the notifications, hold the public hearing, and the recommendation would be given to Heideland. So the application fee would remain with us. Staff would handle all the paperwork, but ultimately the decision would be made by them.
And the public hearing would still be at the planning commission?
Yes,
And then it goes to Idleland
yep.
for
So
final?
exactly similar to how we would handle a plat in those other 6 townships I mentioned or something of that nature. So there wouldn't be any administrative powers like some other joint powers we have. But so I suggested this to them, and then at their last meeting, they made a motion to propose this to us. So if you have an appetite for it, I would suggest that they retain their own attorney. And I would recommend the same individual who created those last JPAs for us, already has a template. And then we would bring that back to you for consideration.
Yeah, I'm good with that, yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
The only, I don't see this happening, but we have to give out so many, I mean, by statute. So if all these townships don't want it, I mean, if every township came in, we still have to give out. So I don't think we're going to get to that point, but you see that if every township says, no, we don't want it, all of a sudden we have to give 3 out.
That's for retail.
Yeah, isn't this
Right.
retail?
I mean, is this all cannabis,
This would be
retail,
all.
growing?
All, yep.
It's only retail though that we have to do.
It's only retail we have
three,
to.
yeah. And the city counts too, so.
Right, but they're,
So I think maybe that might,
I think you just
I mean,
want
I
to put an
think-
asterisk on saying.
well, I think we have to also figure out what, is it the first 3 that meet, like, that we have to? I don't know how that works.
I think in our ordinance, we're not gonna limit any. We decided not to.
Yes,
limit.
we're not going to limit any, but if we're required to have at least 3,
We're required to approve at least 3. If we have nobody come,
Then you don't have
we don't
any.
have to.
Yeah.
but what if we have 3 and we deny 1?
We can't deny one unless we have
Unless
other
there was
reasons.
good reason.
Yes.
And the city of Detroit Lakes has made their own ordinance for it, so. Cap. They don't have a cap. They have, the way they have it set up, there's a cap, but it's not a number cap. So all 3 of them could be in the city of Detroit Lakes.
So-
And we would not, and we don't approve those, right, correct?
Right.
Yeah,
No.
So that would cover us then.
So I
Right,
think
but
in
we-
the joint power
yeah, we
agreement.
We don't have a limit.
No,
just
we don't
wanna
have a
make
limit, but we
sure
have to have a minimum.
that it's
Right.
noted
Yeah.
that
So
So,
if someone applies to us, we would have to.
attorney
approve it,
language,
Unless we had a.
they can put it in there.
correct.
So what you said is.
But what
not
I'm
accurate.
saying is if the city has 3 that they approve, then we've reached our minimum in the county.
That it makes no difference. So if we don't have a restriction on them,
Correct.
if we don't state that we have a restriction, we have to authorize everyone that complies with the rules.
Unless we have a legitimate, yeah, unless you have a legitimate reason. Yeah,
So if you
correct.
want to limit it to 3, you'd have to have an ordinance limiting
No.
it to the
No.
3.
Which we didn't do.
Which we did not do, so we're
So
good.
then really we're not, it really just is about the land use and making sure that it's
Yep, correct.
appropriate. We don't have,
Nope.
so we don't probably have to worry
retail.
about the minimum because we don't have a limit. The minimum came to if you're going to have an ordinance
Limiting them.
limiting them, you have to have at least.
Minimum
Yeah.
number.
Yep.
Yes.
So maybe it's not
It's probably
it's a
not,
non-issue.
non-issue.
But if the city of Detroit Lakes says they're not going to have it, and every township joins up and says they're not going to have it,
Yes.
then we have to come to figure
We
out how
could
we.
change something then though, couldn't we?
Yeah,
Well, I
think
think you
so.
want to note that with all these agreements, that if in the case that, by law, we have to allow 3, and if every township and every city deny everything, the county still has to allow 3. Now, I don't think we're going to get to that point, because I think enough townships are going to say whatever, and
yeah. Well, we have 6 townships now or 5 with agreement, 1 we're working on it, and then 1 city. So I mean,
We have 5 other townships that we're working on an agreement with.
No, you were
No.
talking about the extraterritorial with the.
Yeah,
six
we have those
townships.
6.
Have a
Yeah.
joint powers
Not for
agreement.
cannabis.
Right.
No,
Just for
no.
subdivision control. But the agreement would be similar to that. And then there definitely would be a clause in there for termination for, I mean, almost any reason, right? It could be at your discretion that you decide we just have to notify them within so many days and say, we're pulling out of this agreement.
Did the township come to the county and want this?
Well,
Mr. Hall's here. He's
yeah,
trying to
we've
talk
had
to
some discussion in the past, with them, and I, you know, again, they've been involved since basically day one, since cannabis got on the forefront. I just suggested to them, you know, the state made it very clear that they wanted townships to make a decision on delegating this, right? And a lot of the townships obviously aren't probably that apt to take on zoning. So I just suggested, hey, we have to do this regardless if they're just making the decision. So if the applicant comes to our office, we have to do that paperwork, we have to do the notifications. This is just allowing them I mean, it's allowing them to make the decision, but we're handling a lot of the work on their behalf.
You would be anyway if
And we
they
would-
turn it over to you. Why
Right.
the joint powers it doesn't make sense to me. But
Well, they want to be able to say no.
Well, right, and they don't want to take it on themselves. So there's where the joint powers is.
But 38 other townships turned it over to the county, so they didn't have to take it over themselves.
Right, but with this suggestion, they may come back and do this exact same thing. It's just like the subdivision control. Those 6 townships would have never did that unless the county said, we'll handle the legwork, you make the decision. So that's the exact same thing we're doing, or suggesting.
Mr. Chair and Commissioners, Roger Winter, Becker County Association. For the record, if the power materializes, if the joint power thing materializes, I think it just sets the precedent for the other ones, whatever they may do. There might, like Barry said, there might be just very few that are interested, but I think it's something that's still got to maintain with planning and zoning, basically.
I think it's a good thing. I think townships should have their say. So if they don't want anything in their township,
Yeah.
every township should do the same thing with this, I think. Then they'll have final say.
Yep,
And I'm
pretty
fine
much.
with that. Although, at the end of the day, we have to allow, there has to be 3 in the county. I mean, so.
Exactly, we kind of realized that, and I don't know where we're at. Did the other 2 that were left get their resolution in yet, or they're sitting on them, I suppose? You don't know, but I'll check on that. Yeah, there's a
Well, and
couple.
I do think Audubon has some interest in retaining that power, and once they probably are aware of this situation, they might want to do something similar. I think they've not given it to you on purpose.
Roger,
That's probably.
Roger, would you report this to the townships, this option, as we move forward?
Yes, yeah, that's why I'm kind of keep in touch a little bit. There ain't much I can do, but it's to inform them, and I think it sets the precedent because he's got the job, Kyle's got the job of bringing this through and having you guys the final say. So, thank you.
Thank you, Roger.
Thanks, Roger.
So I just have 2 questions. One, do they follow the county's cannabis ordinance, or they have their own? They follow ours? And 2, who takes on the liability if somebody believes that they made a wrong decision? Do they then take the township to court or the
I would say
county
that.
court? The county or the township?
The township.
Okay.
So like if we made a mistake mailing or something, notifying, then that liability would be on us, but the decision-making would be their body. I'm gonna.
Okay.
I mean, I'll double check on that, but.
Okay. So do we need a motion, or do we just need to, I mean, we're not approving the agreement yet.
Right, we were
Right,
bringing
we're
it
just,
Yep.
Just discussion.
yep,
Okay,
okay. I think we move forward with it, yeah.
yeah, I think so too.
I'll try and convince Lake Eunice to do the same for mining, if you don't mind.
That would be great.
Just a little FYI there, we're gonna have, so the petition's been filed, but the EQB, which is Environmental Quality Board, has to verify that it is complete and 100%. Once they give it to us, we have 15 days to make a decision on it. We do have an extension period there, which would allow us up to 30 days, which I probably anticipate undoing. So from 5 days of yesterday plus 30, so 35 days essentially is when you'll probably see that.
All right.
Okay,
Then we make a decision on that, and then depending upon that decision, then the application starts up again. Correct.
Right.
So we make a decision on whether or not the,
EAW is required, or if we require an EAW or not.
Yes.
gotcha. And who decides that?
We, who decides what?
Who decides if a EAW is,
We do.
we do?
Yeah.
So you present
You do the fact, the fact.
the information and then we decide.
Right, so I'll
They
hold a
have to.
tech panel meeting. And I forgot you guys were in Board of Equalization last night, so I did call 3 of you.
Well, it was a fun meeting.
Yeah,
Well, we were only here for a while, I mean.
right. So obviously I can only have 2 of you at that tech panel meeting unless we posted it. Phil does have some interest in this, so I was gonna ask if you were okay. Obviously,
Totally fine.
Barry's district, so
Mhm.
it would be them 2, and then, we'll have Soil and Water, DNR, MPCA, those type of folks in there, and then they'll make a recommendation, obviously, back to you.
Okay.
Okay.
Kyle, one more issue. June 30th, we're having a meeting. Are you going to have an agenda for that?
Yep.
For the zoning ordinance? Okay.
Yep.
All right, you'll send that out to us before what we.
Yep.
Okay, all right.
All right, anything else for Kyle? Do we have anything else for the good of the order?
I have one. So do you guys get these kind of things in the mail, like flyers and stuff?
Thanks, Kyle.
This
Thanks,
one
Kyle.
is for land use, and I don't know what the policy is. Barry, maybe you can. This is navigating some land use, put on by MCIT.
Yeah,
Oh,
Are we
Yeah, I got
able
it.
to go to these things, or do we need to go? I don't know. I find that some things I go to are worthless, and some things I go to, I really pick some things up, and I don't know which are which.
Is that a virtual one or an in-person one?
It's an in-person
in-person
one.
one.
I just go down to the day and come back. It's,
Those, if
Yeah,
I think any travel, any overnight lodging, I think you would want, unless it's normal, you just bring it, if you want to go, just bring it
yeah,
to board.
bring it board.
Most-
And MCIT and AMC
You're on
are,
the MC,
yeah.
are you on the, who's on the MC?
I am.
I'm not actually,
I would say if it's
I think I
an
did get one of these.
seminar,
so what's the process? I just have to come and ask, and if you guys think it's legit, then I go?
you can do it, Carrie, you could probably develop a policy on those, and I don't know.
Historically, that's what we've done. I think
Yeah.
we just
I
said,
mean,
hey,
I think you ask Carrie's advice and move forward. If it was an MCIT meeting critical to what Dave's on the committee, I think that's you just have Carrie, go through Carrie and, run it by her first.
well, this is a
This-
land use training.
This isn't critical. None of this is critical,
Well,
but it's
if-
educational, and I think I
If-
could.
I'm saying if Dave's on MCIT and they have a seminar relating to their, something pertinent that he feels is pertinent to him being on that committee, I think that Carrie has, that's, each individual can, and if she goes, this is one we should just go to board and get permission to attend. If you want a per diem and it paid for, I think you come to the full board.
Yeah.
Go through Carrie, and if she says, I think the full board should weigh in, we're gonna probably support any,
I would assume any of our partners.
any of those.
Yeah, mhm,
I mean,
Especially being on the planning commission.
yeah.
I'm not on
Well,
MCIT. I'm not on
I-
land use, but I
Yeah,
thought
but
it
I
looked
mean, we
interesting.
can-
That's all.
Yeah.
But I don't have-
MCIT is our agency, the more contacts that you have, at
Yeah.
PMC, at at MCIT.
MRC.
Okay, so this is some land use stuff. I'm not on either of the boards, but I would consider going.
If-
Can I go?
I'll authorize if or Commissioner Hanson wants to attend the MCIT land use meeting, to cover per diem and expenses.
So we have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
So we have any discussion? Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. I will not stay
Opposed?
overnight.
All right. Motion carries. You are free to go
Okay.
and you get paid. Do we have anything else for the good of the order? All right, we are adjourned.
Just over 2 hours, I'll tell you what. We're coming around.
We are.
I can handle that.
Bill, are you